Morning, everyone. So the campgrounds are starting to open here in northern Wisconsin. The state DNR campgrounds are officially open on Wednesday the 10th. And while the National Forest campgrounds themselves aren't open, they are now allowing dispersed camping in the National Forest. So that means it's time to start getting camper ready for some camping, because we're going to camp, even if it means for dispersed camping. So why don't you join me while we start getting the camper prepped and de-winterized. I've already opened the bunks, and the first thing I like to do is hit all the canvas in this with this heavy-duty water repellent, just to help keep things from leaking in the event that it rains. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is from the outside, I'm going to hit all of the seams, and that will ensure that there's no wicking through this vinyl here, because this stuff I'm not worried about. It's the stuff here that's actually the problem. So we're going to hit all the seams, make sure there's no wicking there, and then we'll go inside and start spraying the actual canvas itself. Now that we've got all of our seams sprayed on the outside, let's head into the trailer and start spraying the canvas itself. Alright, so here we are in the front bunk of the trailer, and definitely needs to see a shop vac, but no surprise there. We haven't actually been in the trailer since we winterized it last, I think, October. We've been in and out to grab a few things, but we literally haven't done anything with it. So part of today's work is going to be to clean it, and that'll be later this afternoon when it's hot. Part of the reason I'm doing this today is we're expecting 91 degrees, which for us northern Wisconsin folk, that's hot. So I'm going to take advantage of the trailer's air conditioner later this afternoon, but this stuff needs time to dry, so I figured I would start with that. So the first thing I'll do is I'll hit all the seams from the inside, then I'll coat the inner part of the canvas, open the canvas, and do the inside. And I'm going to do that with all the canvas around me, and then I'll go to the rear bunk and do the same. Now the reason we do all this is the first year we had this trailer, we discovered that this canvas weeps when it rains. For whatever reason, the manufacturer of this trailer, in their infinite wisdom, did not include any sort of plastic that could be zipped closed, or any plastic lining on the outside of this canvas, and that allows it to weep. And we actually had to have this front bunk replaced because it had weeped so much over the years that the wood itself was rotten. So if I were to do this again, I would look for a trailer that actually had some sort of a protective plastic or coating on the outer side of the canvas. This stuff that I'm spraying on definitely works, makes a difference. We used it last year and made all the difference in the world. But it'd be nice to not have to do it. I guess it's just a maintenance item. Just a maintenance item, kind of like the old canvas tents that our parents used to use. You had to spray them down and waterproof them. That's another thing I don't understand about this trailer, is these cables actually push against the canvas here. I don't know how I would fix it necessarily, but that doesn't help, because that contact causes where it tends to weep through. or where the air mattress is touching or anything like that. So there is no good solution outside of, like I said, some plastic. I've thought about talking to a canvas shop and seeing what it would cost to have them put some sort of a plastic liner on the outside of this. Alright, so this has to dry 4 hours, so I'm not going to be touching this for a while, but that's okay because the trailer needs to air out anyways. I'm going to do the other bunk and I'll be right back with you. Alright, so we've got all the canvas treated. Now, as you may recall in our winterization video last fall, which I'll link somewhere, we had to pull a total of 6 of these plugs. This one actually is for the hot water heater, so I got to swap it out. But I've got to put all these back now before I can fill the tanks, sanitize them, flush the lines, etc. So I'm going to grab the right plug here and we'll crawl underneath the trailer here and get some plugs put in place. Ugh. Alright, so that's the fresh tank. And in case you're wondering, yes, I leave them open all winter. My thought is, the trailer's not going anywhere, so I'm not going to pick up any dust. And this way, if there is any moisture left, it has a place to go. Alright, so that's 3 of them. 2 more to go. 3 more to go. You may recall I found 2 back here this last year that I did not know existed. So we'll get these in here. These are for the bathroom. And considering the way this trailer is laid out, I guess I can understand why there's 2 different drain points. Fingers are definitely not liking this. Alright, I may have to snug those up a little bit later, but they're there. So I apologize for the bad viewing angle. It's just how I have the trailer parked. You may recall last year that this is not the most optimal connection plug, whatever you want to call it, to get to the back of the hot water heater. So I went and I got my trusty breaker bar and my 24mm socket so that I can get in here, not because I need the breaker bar to over torque it or anything, but because I need the breaker bar in order to even get my because I can't get my fingers in there to really tighten this down. And just like that, all the drain plugs are back in. Like I said, I'm sure later I'm gonna have to tighten them up, but they're in. So our next step will be to mix up some bleach and water solution and start filling the fresh tank to sanitize everything. Be right back with you. Now we're coming to what I would describe as probably one of my least favorite parts of getting the camper ready for the year. And it's not that it's a pain or anything, it just uses a lot of water. We gotta sanitize the tanks. But before we do that, I need to sanitize this, because you may recall that last year we hosted at Black Lake, and we plan on doing that again. That means we need to get a lot of our water from a hand water pump. And yes, the Forest Service tests that water multiple times a year, it's fine, but I still want to sanitize this before I worry about the tanks. So what I'm going to do is I've got a couple gallons of water in here. I'm going to take a measuring cup and I'm going to pour about a half a cup or so of bleach into here. And I've got a couple gallons of water in there already. I'm going to put the lid on here and give it a little light agitation just to kind of get the bleach mixed up. And then what I'm going to do, because I've got the 12-volt pump that we use to move water into the tanks in here, is I'm going to go hook this up to the battery and I'm going to just let it cycle this solution through the pump a little bit. Then I'm going to come back, dump this out, make a fresh solution, and I'm going to pump 5 gallons of bleach solution into the fresh tank before I completely fill the fresh tank. So I'm going to go run this for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've been running the pump for probably about 2 minutes. I've got all the bleach solution out of it. We're ready to go. Now, I've got this rinsed out. It's time to make up a bleach solution that will be basically a quarter cup of bleach for every 15 gallons of freshwater capacity. We have a 52 gallon tank. To make the math easy, I'm just going to say 15, 30, 45, 60. So 4 quarter cups, which would be 1 cup of bleach, is going to go into this 5 gallon bucket. I'll fill it up, pump it into the tank, and then top off the tank with fresh water from there. Let that sit in the tank for probably about a half hour, and then I'll turn the pump on and start running water through the faucets and everything. So let's get this filled up and pumped into the tank. Yes, my nice clean garden hose. Yes, nice clean garden hose. But I figure I used to drink out of one of these as a kid, so this can't be too bad. Alright, so the jug here is full. We're going to carry it over to the camper and pump the water in, and then I'll take that nice garden hose of mine and top off the fresh tank. So let's head over to the camper. I'll see you there. Alright, so here we are at the side of the camper. Now this unit, I have to admit, does surprise me a little bit because the fill for the fresh tank is on what would be the passenger side of the trailer. Every trailer I've had before this has been on the driver's side, so that's interesting. So I'm going to take the cap off. I'm going to just set it over here. A little bit of sediment in there. We'll clear that out. That's about the only real advantage I see to flushing this tank. I mean, yes, it needs to be sanitized, but it also gets the debris out of here. So let me get the pump in, and we'll pump this 5 gallons of bleach solution in, and then get the garden hose over here. While we're waiting for the pump to do its thing, some of you who haven't seen our videos before are probably asking yourself, why do you fill your tank this way? Why do you even have that pump? Well, where we do a lot of our camping, there's a old-fashioned hand pump, and that's the only source of water. So unless I want to pull this trailer off every couple of weeks to go and fill the fresh tanks, this is the only way to get more water into the tanks. Yeah, you're probably wondering about the black tank too. Well, I've got a portable black tank for that, and I just take it to the dump station when I come home to do laundry. So the trailer stays at the campground pretty much all summer, and this lets us have water in the trailer. We're getting there. Got about a gallon to go. When we run out of water, we just, with a wagon, cart 10 of these over and use the pump to fill the tank back up. Alright, now to get the hose. Time to turn the water on. Alright, so I know from experience it takes about 5 minutes or so to fill this tank with this hose. So I'll be back when it's full, and we'll put the cap back on and let it sit for a half hour or so with that bleach solution in the tank before I turn the pump on. Hopefully when I turn the pump on, we don't find that I had a freeze up over winter, but I think we're alright. See you in a little bit. Alright. It's been a little over a half an hour. The fresh tank should be sterile by now. Now for the moment of truth. time to turn the water on and see what happens. Fingers crossed that we didn't have a freeze up over winter. Like I said, I'm not too worried about it, but it's always something on my mind because last year we did have a freeze up and I didn't think we'd have a problem then. So here we go, time to turn on the pump. Well, so far so good. We're spitting out a lot of air, but that's kind of to be expected. We're getting there. Got a lot of air to purge. That's why the hose gets hooked up next. Just a little bit of air in there. We'll leave the hot water run for a few minutes. There's definitely air in that line, but I mean that had a big tank. It had to fill and purge. Put my shower back together here. And just like that, I think we're good. I'm gonna let the water run a few minutes longer, but all the lines have been purged of air. They've all had bleach water run through them. Next comes, and I think I've got all the air out of the system, so I don't even have to hook the hose up, which is awesome. So once I'm done flushing lines, I'll drain the tank, fill it with fresh, flush it again, and other than cleaning this thing, which will happen this afternoon when I turn the air conditioner on, we're dewinterized. So I hope you found this video informative. Remember, I'll link down below and somewhere else to our winterization video in case you have questions about what we do to winterize. But I think we're ready for camping season. Take care, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you at our next destination, wherever that is. Take care. Bye-bye.